Alright, who is a person in history who has made a giant impression on the world? One of the most influential figures in history is Sir Isaac Newton. He paved the way for all sorts of technology that you use today, like phone screens, cars, cameras, as well as technologies that help society run smoothly, like bridges, buildings, and satellites. Isaac Newton is a very important character in history because of his contributions to science that allowed us to better understand the universe. He also helped us create modern technology, and finally, he made the work of people like Oppenheimer and Einstein possible. Newton walked so future physicists and mathematicians could run. In this speech, I will talk about how Newton came to be the greatest scientist of his time, as well as his greatest discoveries and their significance. First, we will take a look at Newton's childhood. Isaac Newton was actually born on Christmas Day of 1643 in Woodstock, Lincolnshire, England, to his widowed mother. Newton attended a free grammar school. Despite his genius, Newton did not excel in school like one might expect. However, he had a deep curiosity for how things worked, and he often conducted experiments on his own. After that, Newton attended Trinity College, Cambridge, to pursue a law degree. However, the plague shut down Trinity's operations, so Newton was forced to go home, and that was where he discovered his passion for physics and math. During his time in isolation, he began formulating some of his most significant theories. It was during this period he famously observed an apple falling from a tree, which led him to develop his theory of gravity. By 1666, Newton had published his first 3 laws of motion. Newton became a serious leader in the realm of scientific research, but his work was often interrupted by nervous breakdowns. Newton had a terrible fear of criticism, which caused these nervous breakdowns, but nevertheless, Newton continued his work in physics and math until he died in 1727. Now we will talk about Newton's greatest discoveries in his career. Newton's first groundbreaking discovery was his 3 laws of universal motion. These describe how objects and forces interact with each other, and this is the basics for almost all branches of physics. He explained how objects move, react to forces, and formed the groundwork for classical mechanics. He then discovered the law of gravity. Newton realized that the force that keeps us on the ground actually applies to all objects in the universe, and he created an equation to calculate the acceleration of gravity between any 2 objects. This was a revolutionary idea at the time, and it allowed scientists to explain the motion of celestial bodies in space. Newton also did work relating to optics, light, and colors. Our modern understanding of these things is still the same. He demonstrated that white light is a compound of different colors by using a prism to split light into a rainbow. His work in optics laid the foundations for a development of modern optical instruments. Newton's final discovery came when he was analyzing the orbit of planets around the sun. He realized that his equations involving algebra and geometry just weren't good enough at describing the rate of change in motion of planets' orbits. So he decided to invent a new branch of math called calculus to solve these problems. This branch of mathematics has since become a fundamental tool of science, engineering, and even economics. And the coolest part of all of this is that he made all of those discoveries before he turned 24 years old. The impact of Newton's discoveries. First, we will talk about the implications of Newton's discoveries. Newton's laws of motion have allowed us to better understand and design basically everything that moves, from cars to boats to planes to rocket ships. Without Newton's laws of motion, we would be set back in terms of transportation. His principles are still used today to design safer and more efficient vehicles, aircraft, and space exploration technologies. Newton's work with light and optics gave us telescopes, glasses, and microscopes. These advancements have led to numerous discoveries in astronomy, medicine, and physics, allowing us to see both the vastness of space the microscopic world of cells and bacteria. Newton's gravity equation has allowed us to put satellites in orbit, determine the amount of fuel that rockets need, and thanks to his work, we are now able to send spacecraft to explore other planets and map out the universe beyond our solar system. And finally, Newton's creation of calculus is used in almost all types of engineering, from bridges to airplane wings. It is essential in fields such as physics, economics, and even computer science. Without calculus, many of today's advancements in technology and medicine would not be possible. In conclusion, Newton came from a humble upbringing before he made some of the greatest discoveries in history, and that have allowed us to better understand the universe and create all sorts of things that make our lives easier. From light to gravity to motion to calculus, Newton did it all. His discoveries continue to shape the modern world, proving that one person's curiosity and determination can change the course of history forever. Isaac Newton is not just a historical figure, he's a legend whose work still influences science and technology today. That's it.